try that again. Oh, I had to switch over to OBS. Wirecast was giving me some major issues again. I don't know why that is. I've been trying to get to the bottom of things all week, and just when I think I have solved the issue, there seems to be a problem. If any of you out there use Wirecast, I don't imagine most of you, or a lot of you do. It's a very expensive software, and you would only use it if you were doing this kind of a thing on a regular basis, really. But for whatever reason, for those of you that do have Wirecast, and you might know what the issue is, whenever I go to stream, it's green and then it turns red, and it's just very strange. And I think I've sort of, solved it, and then it doesn't look like I have. So I had to jump over to OBS, and even OBS gives me some weird problems. And I know what you're thinking. Well, maybe you need a new computer. Actually, I got a really powerful computer capable of rendering 4K. So I don't know what's going on. It's very weird. It's strange. My internet connection's really fast. I'm going to have to call my internet provider and see maybe if there's an issue on their end, but it's just strange. It's just technology. What are you going to do? So if there is a bit of a hiccup with OBS, which there's no doubt there will be, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll get, I'll be back in action. No problem. Okay. Hey, what do we got here? Welcome. Yes, it is, Friday, August the 16th, 2019. It was 42 years ago today that the king of rock and roll, Elvis Aaron Presley, passed away at the age of 42. Funny enough. I'm a big Elvis fan. My dad was a big Elvis fan, and so growing up as a young boy and as a teenager, I obviously was very into Elvis, and I know a lot about Elvis. There's something you probably don't know about me. So 42 years ago today, August the 16th, 1977, Elvis Aaron Presley, the king of rock and roll, passed away. Howard D says, on the toilet. That's right. If you're going to go, ladies and gentlemen, the way you want to go is on the toilet, preferably after you're done. You don't want to go before, and certainly not in the middle of, but you know what I'm talking about. So this is just a live AMA. I thought we'd have some fun on this Friday night, and just talk movies, because I think you guys are fucking awesome. Okay, so what do we got? Super Chat just came in from the Pancake Lover 2. Thank you, Pancake Lover 2. Love the name. What's your favorite Queen song, and why is it your favorite? That's a great question. My favorite, well, listen, I mean, Queen has got so many good songs. I think I'm just going to say my favorite is probably Another One Bites the Dust, and for no more than just because I love the beat. I love the beat. It's just such a catchy song to bob to, you know what I mean? It's just such a great song. I mean, there's nothing, the lyrics in any of the Queen songs, Bohemian Rhapsody is obviously very poetic in a lot of ways, but it's not like they're deep songs with deep messages or anything. They're just, they're a very anthem-y group, but they're great. You know what I mean? So, and I like, there's so many of their songs, like Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, We Will Rock You, Another One Bites the Dust, what's that one? Under Pressure. There's so many they have that are great. So, but that would be my favorite, and why. Let's see here. Okay. 87 fine people watching. Movie chat and more all the way from across the pond says that was going to be the Rocky theme, the 3 theme. Another One Bites the Dust. I didn't hear that. Maybe you're making a joke. I think you're making a joke. Another One Bites the Dust. That's funny. Frank Riker, super chat. Thank you, Frank. Says, what would be your death pose in a movie? I'd want to go out like a cartoon, like through a wall. Like one of those. That's what I would like. Mac25 at Dave McRae says, favorite Steven Spielberg movie. Oh, man, that's a toughie. My favorite Steven Spielberg movie. That's so tough. I'm trying to think of what would be my favorite. I would probably say, I don't know. My favorite Spielberg. Listen, The Color Purple is great. Saving Private Ryan is great. I mean, maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe. I don't know. It's so that Jaws, perhaps Jaws, would be up there. I mean, he's got quite the filmography. And I love, I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite by him, but it's coming close to being up there, is Ready Player One. I absolutely loved Ready Player One. You guys know that if you've been following me for quite some time. I love that movie. I mean, if that movie had come out 30 years ago when I was a kid, a young boy, it'd be an instant classic today. The only reason why a lot of these great adventure movies often get thrown under the bus, so to speak, in terms of not a lot of attention, is because we live in an era where there's just so many blockbusters, one right after another. I mean, there's a blockbuster, for all intents and purposes, being released almost every weekend, certainly a few times a month. And so, you only have a very small window before nobody cares about you anymore. So it's unfortunate, because if that movie had come out when I was a kid, man, I watched it again just about a month and a half ago. And it's great. Really great. Really cool stuff. Let's see here. A couple super chats. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Andrew Windermere says, Alien or Aliens? They're both really good. It depends on my mood. I might be in a little mood for Ridley Scott. I might be in a little mood. I might be in a mood for a little Ridley Scott, or I might be in a mood for a little James Cameron. So I'm not too sure. I'm going to say it depends on my mood. Ethan LeBlanc, thank you, Ethan. Much appreciated. Says, can't stick around tonight, just dropping in to say, hey, we'll watch later. Keep the rack out. God, that's right, Ethan. Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. Grave Warmer says, what do you think of Super 8 with Spielberg and J.J. Abrams? Oh, yeah. I actually quite liked that movie, but I wasn't a big fan of the ending of that movie. I thought it felt flat. I thought the creature and I don't know, maybe it's because we had just had Cloverfield, I think 3 years earlier, because Cloverfield was 2008, Super 8 was 2011, I believe. So I think because there was a lot of similarities there in terms of the look of the creature, I didn't like the way the creature... I just didn't like the ending of the movie. I thought it kind of... I love the whole idea of, that Goonies, old school kind of thing happening. It was great. The kids were pretty forgettable, I think, at the end of the day. I mean, we don't really care about them now, and certainly they're not kids anymore. But I like it, but it just felt a little flat for me towards the end. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Let's see. Lee Bowers. At Dave McRae, do you think Robert Englund would come back to do Freddy again before he retires from acting? Yes, I think he would. But the question is not, as you've heard me say a few times on this channel, the question is not whether or not Robert Englund... I know a lot of people want him to come back. It all depends on what they are doing creatively, because as you've heard me say before, if the plan is to reboot the series, then I say that you just hire another actor, but you hire somebody who can bring, do justice to the role. Somebody that we're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, right? And he makes it his own, but it's Freddy. Because you don't want to bring Robert Englund back for one movie. The movie is so successful, but Englund just doesn't have any desire to do it. Or, God forbid, something happens to him because he's older, right? And now you're kind of now you're switching Freddy's right in the middle of your kind of thing, right? That's not going to go over too well. So if your plan is just to have a one and done, kind of which is never the case with these things, but I'm just saying hypothetically that was your plan. Okay, bring him back, bring back Heather, bring back Robert, do whatever you got to do. But I think the best thing really at the end of the day is to recast a different actor, an actor that can bring the type of gravitas and charisma and, darkness to the role. that is required. And I know a lot of people think it should be Kevin Bacon, which I find hilarious because Kevin Bacon himself is 60 years old. So, people often forget that Robert Englund he was a few years younger than me when he did the first Elm Street. I'm 40. He was about 30, maybe he was like 35 or something. So he wasn't young, but he wasn't old. So I think you got to go there, 35, 40, 45, somewhere in there. You don't want to cast somebody who's 60 or 70. That's how I feel. Let me see here. Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany Moses. Okay, am I going to say this right? Tiffany Moses Sente? Moses Sente. Am I saying that right? I'm really sorry if I'm not saying it, but how are you? Tiffany's a great supporter. Doing well, Tiffany. Doing well. Hope you're doing well, too. David Carr says, Cloverfield should have had a sequel. Don't like the ending either. Too bad. Well, I actually don't mind the ending of Cloverfield. It's the ending of Super 8 that I wasn't a big fan of. And I agree, Cloverfield should have had an ending because it's one of the best found footage movies there is. Great film. I saw it in the theater. I think I actually took my buddy Bruce to see it for his birthday, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of the few movies where I walked out of the theater feeling a little nauseous because of the motion sickness that you're experiencing on the screen because you're watching a lot of this, right? Yeah, I'm a big motion sickness kind of guy. I don't do well with those types of things. Love those rides at like Universal and Walt Disney World. Like I love the rides, but they always give me a bit of motion sickness. Luckily, as I've gotten older, I've been able to sort of, ride the wave a little bit, and it's not too bad. But let's see here. Darren Sands. Hey, Darren, how are you? Andrew L. says, at Mr. McRae, what's the saddest you've ever felt towards a movie? That's a great question. The saddest I've ever felt towards a movie. Well, I'm going to say I don't know. Is my honest answer. But off the top of my head, I remember the very first time I ever saw Forrest Gump getting quite choked up towards the end of that movie. That had me quite choked up. I didn't cry. I don't think I've ever cried during a movie, whether it's been in the theater or watching it at home. I don't think I've actually shed a tear. But there's been moments where I've you feel it. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, what the fuck's going on? You feel it because it gets to you, right? Now, my eyes have watered, funny enough, over things that have got me emotional because of the nostalgic connection. Like the Chewie We're Home trailer from The Force Awakens. Oh, right in the feels, man. Right in the feels. I'm like, I got goosebumps. My eyes were watering. Didn't shed a tear, but they were watering a bit because of the emotional, nostalgic connection. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'll say Forrest Gump. That was a tough one. Frank Reger, super chat. Thanks, Frank. What movie, after seeing it years later, grew on you after it initially hated? Ooh, that's good. That's a good one. What movie that I did not initially like that grew on me years later? I would say, that's a great question. Movie I didn't like that grew on me years later. I don't know. Because after a movie, after seeing it years later, grew on you after you initially hated it. I'm not sure. Let me think on that. I'm not sure. I don't know if there ever has been one, to be honest with you. It's certainly not an obvious one, or it would come to my mind. That's a good question, man. That's a good question. Let's see here. Mariana M. Hawk. Dave, have you seen the movie Istanbul with Brad Dourif? If not, please do on YouTube. It's an awesome trailer. Oh, okay. You mean have I seen the trailer or have I seen the movie? Because the first part says movie, the second part says trailer. I'll check out the trailer. Nonetheless, I have not, and I will check out the trailer. Let's see here. Foxy Boy Gaming YT says, hello, my name is Robert, and I like to poo on squirrels. Good for you, Foxy Boy Gaming YT. If anybody should be pooing on squirrels, it's you. Let me see here. Mark McCatherine. Yes, McCatherine. Dave, name some horror movies where the squalls are better than the original. You mean the sequels are, the sequels are better than the original. Some horror movies where the sequels are better than the original. That's tough. Some like to say Friday the sequel or the sequels, because you could point to, some people like Friday the 13th Part 2 better than Friday the 13th Part 1, and you could make an argument for that. Let me see. You could, I don't know. Horror movies, the sequels are better. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Not many. Let's just put it that way. There are not many sequels that are better than the original, in my opinion. You can have maybe more fun with them, but they're not necessarily, it's a good question. Not sure. Did I miss any super chats? Let me go back here. I thought I did. I did. Here's one. Andrew Windermere. Thank you again, Andrew. If you personally could make any movie ever with complete creative control, which movie would you choose and why? Well, I would choose my own project that I have been in development on for many years. That's what I would choose. And I don't want to give too much information about it at the moment because it's still in development. But I'm not talking about It's Me, Billy. I'm talking about a feature-length film that I've been writing the script for many years and polishing it and fine-tuning it and things like that. So that would be it. But one that's not my own, I would say something that I would be like really passionate about, like a Halloween movie or a Star Wars movie or something like that would be really cool. Darkness Demon 8 says, Dave, what are your thoughts on Maniac from 1980? Haven't seen it in years. I think I liked it. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. That's a movie you don't hear tossed around too often. Mohammed Kember says, Dave, if you had to pick one psychological mystery thriller movie to be the best, which would you pick? Also, what are your thoughts on the movie Final Destination? Well, first of all, I liked the first Final Destination, and then I just thought they're always fun to watch, no matter which installment it is, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. But I like the first one because it was different and it was spooky and it was like, oh, can you imagine? And then eventually the novelty kind of wears off and it just kind of loses its cachet, in my opinion. Now the first part of your question, if I had to pick one psychological mystery thriller movie to be the best, what would you pick? I don't know. There's a lot of good ones out there. Psychological mystery thriller. I mean, The Game with Michael Douglas is really good from 1997. You could add Rear Window. That's a psychological thriller in there as well from Hitchcock, or Vertigo, or Rope. That's going back to the late 40s, I think. You can look at, even All About Eve with Bette Davis is a psychological sort of, it's not like the movies we know today, but that's a great movie too. Touch of Evil is really good. The Orson Welles film, Jacob's Ladder is good. There's so many. It's hard to choose. It's such a great question. That's so hard to choose. It's such a great question. Psychological mystery thriller. The Others is really good. I like The Others better than I do The Sixth Sense. Even more modern, Prisoners was really good too. That was really good. There's a lot of good ones, man. That's hard. I gotta think more about that. You guys are on fire tonight. You guys are amazing. A couple super chats. Awesome. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. Hey, Chris Baber. Good to see you, Chris. Chris is awesome. Dave, Chris here. I think I know you. Indeed you do. What happens to the Myers mask in the sequel, and should they try to bring back Brian Andrews? Yes, I think they should try to bring back Brian Andrews. And if they don't, the Myers mask, I think it absolutely should show some effects from the fire. So there's a great piece of artwork that's going around that somebody did. I'm sure you guys, or some of you have probably seen it, where it's Michael, but a bit of the mask is kind of burned because the hair is kind of off, and it's kind of, but it still looks like the mask that was in the 2018 film. That's what I think you need to do. You don't change the fundamental look of it, right? The actual kind of look where it's all burned. It's like, what is this? No, you don't want to do that because people really love the look of the mask. So you want to continue to go with it. You know, you don't want to risk changing it while, you know, everything is working right now, right? But you do want to show some residual effects of the fire. So you just, you know, you show some residual effects. Maybe a bit of the hair burn gone, bit of the mask kind of melted here a bit, and that's it. And that's it. Because who's to say he wasn't in and out of there faster than we can say police brutality? What movie's that from? What movie's that from? It'd be funny if you guys get it. The police brutality. Faster you can say police brutality. I wonder if you guys will get it. I'll give you a hint. It's an old 80s comedy. So that's what I would say to that. Frank Riker says, Dave, I hear Cats from Broadway is completely CGI with their costumes and no makeup. Your feelings on the possible end of makeup artists. Oh, that's great. That was a plot twist at the end that I wasn't expecting. I thought you were going to ask my thoughts on Cats. Well, I think it's sad. I mean, look, technology is continuing to evolve exponentially, and eventually, you know, what you see as the Oasis in Ready Player One will be a reality. It will be a reality. Now, whether it will be that kind of reality in our lifetime, I don't know. But it will be a reality. And Spielberg said that what you see in the movie, we're closer to that than you think. We're not quite there yet, but we're closer to that than you think. So, you know, it's unfortunate, really, because CG, I mean, look at it looks awful. It looks god awful. I understand. It's cheaper. I get it. It's all about money, right? I get it. But it looks like garbage. Now, maybe the movie will be really good. I don't know. But I actually saw the play Cats about 15 or 16 years ago. And I liked it. I thought it was good. It's a classic, right? You know what I mean? It's not very long. It's not a very long play. Not heavily involved or hard to follow. But I thought it was fun. And certainly, I think doing a movie is an interesting premise. Like, oh, cool. Okay, how are we going to do this? And I can't help but feel that maybe they chose CGI, yes, because it's cheaper, but also because it would somehow, the gimmick, it would seem gimmicky if we knew that they were all in makeup and running around, because obviously I don't know. But no, it's sad. It's sad that a lot of these jobs that are extremely important to the film industry and stem from the theater. I mean, let's not forget that, you know, acting and producing and directing and casting and makeup and all that, all the jobs that are in movies, apart from visual effects now, but I'm just saying all the standard jobs come from the theater. The only job that didn't was DP, director of photography. So it's been around for over 100 years, you know, and it's a vital job. And when they do great things, it's magic. And we're just not there yet. Like, get that fucking garbage out of there. Get those CG cats out of there. It looks awful. So I think it's sad. But I think eventually it is going to happen. I mean, look at what they're doing with de-aging now and that kind of stuff. I mean, we are going to enter an arena very soon where, and it's going to happen, where people who've passed on, they will be brought back. And then you run into the whole legalities that surround that, and whether it's legal, whether it's moral. Is it weird to see Robin Williams on screen as himself because they have this library of all his sayings and they have these movies of his facial expressions and movement, and they can de-age him and they can put him as we know him in a movie? It's like, oh my God, it's Robin fucking Williams. You know, and you look at what they're doing now with like what they did with Tarkin in Rogue One. I mean, okay, yes, it's not quite but look what they're doing already. Like, already look what they're doing. Where is this going to be in 15 years, 10 years, 5 years? It's insane. It's fucking insane. I don't know, man. I guess I'm just one of those old school cats that's going to be like, hey, get off my lawn, you little fucker. Hey, did anybody get the Vacation, Aircar 33, and Jeff Jenkins got it. Yes, that's right, Vacation. Faster than you can say police brutality. Yes! You guys probably Googled it. I'm not saying you did. But that's the problem nowadays, right? Like, it's so hard to get people to actually, because you can just sit there and type in something and like, it's from vacation. It's like why radio contests don't really work anymore, because they can sit there and go, It was the Shawshank Redemption, because they're just, they're ready for it, right? Not that I'm saying you guys did. I'm just saying. You guys are better than that. You guys didn't do that. You guys knew that. That's what I'm going with. Adam Carl Green says, Dave, has there been a movie you rented the most from a video store? Well, probably when I was a kid. It would have been The Goonies or A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, or a Friday the 13th movie, or even back in the 80s, they used to, they would package up He-Man as well. Like I remember going to, I lived in a small town just north of Toronto called Bolton, Ontario, and it's not so small anymore, but 35 years ago, it had maybe, I don't know, a couple thousand people. It wasn't that big. And we didn't have a video store per se. So we would rent videos from the convenience store, as you can still sometimes do. And you could do even throughout the Blockbuster era. And that's what we did. And I remember they had He-Man, and it would be like a thing you would rent with like 5 or 6 episodes of He-Man on it. It was weird. So I would rent that a lot. And yeah, Disney cartoons, Escape to Witch Mountain, the original, not the one with The Rock. The Cat from Outer Space. I love that movie. Do you guys remember that, who are old enough to remember The Cat from Outer Space, that Disney movie? Or The Incredible Journey. Remember The Incredible Journey? Oh, not the one, not Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. I'm talking about the original Incredible Journey from like the late 60s or early 70s. I love that movie too. Yeah. Great question. Okay, I just scrolling back here to make sure I didn't miss any super chats, because you guys are awesome. I don't want to miss anything. No, I don't think I did. Okay. Scrolling. And once again, you guys know the drill. If I don't answer your questions, it's never personal. It's just there's a lot to get to, and I'm always so thorough, right? Let's see here. Jared Farron says, Dave, have you seen the Lighthouse trailer? Yes. I just found out about it a couple of days ago, and it's easily jumped my number one most anticipated movie this fall. Whoa, number one most anticipated movie this fall. That's amazing. I have seen it. I was blown away by the visual presentation of it and how they are presenting it in the aspect ratio they are, and that it's in black and white, which I kind of knew it was going to be, but I loved it. I love the trailer. And Robert Pattinson is a really solid actor. So for those of you that are still a little skeptical on him portraying Batman in Matt Reeves' new Batman film coming up in the next couple years, go watch the Lighthouse trailer. Okay? I mean, just so you do yourself your due. Let me try that again. Do yourself some due diligence and go watch him in other things. Then you can have an informed opinion on whether or not you're excited about him being Batman. But if your only opinion is based on Twilight, well, then I can't take you seriously, right? Who can? Because you've only seen him in one thing, and that's all you think of. Go watch him in Good Time. Go watch The Lighthouse this fall and all that shit. He's a good actor. He's not a vampire. He just played one on TV. Okay. Oh, just saw a super chat come in here. Super chat. Thank you, Anthony Bazudo. Am I saying that right? Bazudo? Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. Hey, Dave, I heard in your Eddie Murphy 5 favorite movie review, you are a fan of The Burbs. I am. Personally, I think it's an underrated classic. Oh, it is. It is. I love The Burbs. 1989, I believe, with Tom Hanks. Corey Feldman is in that as well. Isn't Bruce Dern? I think he's in that as well, right? Carrie Fisher, of course. And, I forget the other actor's name there. The heftier one. He just died recently, I think, a couple years ago. Anyway, yeah, I love The Burbs. It's not a great movie, but it's one of those movies that is just fun to watch. There's something about it that is cozy to me. And I think I've narrowed it down to the fact that it takes place all in a cul-de-sac, right? which is totally a backlot. It's not a real street at all. That is a backlot at Universal or Warner Brothers or whatever. Totally, 100%. You can tell. But nonetheless, it's that cozy environment. And because there's three guys who think that their neighbor went missing and that kind of shit, it reminds me, even though they were older than I was when I first watched The Burbs, when I became a teenager, the kind of chemistry and camaraderie that I had with my high school buddies was the same kind of thing. Like if we all lived beside each other and we thought, we'd be thinking the same thing. Like we'd be going, what the fuck, man? Look, where did he go? Did you see that? Like we'd be up to no good thinking that something wild and crazy was going on next door. So I think that's what it is. It just kind of, it's got that cozy sort of environment and that little kind of dark adventure, where they think something's going on. And I just like it. I like it. Yep. Big fan of The Burbs. One of my faves. Let's see here. Chris Baber to the channel. Hey, thanks, Chris. Awesome, man. Great supporter of the channel. You rock. Oh, and by the way, I don't think I've said this to you before, but your daughter is absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. She is just adorable. I love the photos you post and stuff. Oh, I think you guys are just great. Just awesome stuff. Let's see here. Jim Dorsey. Hey, Jim, how you doing, buddy? Do you think the original Vacation or Christmas Vacation is better? Ooh, great question. I actually prefer the original Vacation. It's a classic. Like, it's just so good. You got Holiday Road in there. You got the Truckster. You got Aunt Edna. You got the big, although, to be fair, there is that awesome monologue in Christmas Vacation, I need a Tylenol, which is how he ends it, right? They're both really good. They are the two best out of the four because there was Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation, and Vegas Vacation. I would rank them as Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation, European Vacation. I think European Vacation, I just don't think it's very good. It's got some funny moments in it, for sure, but there's something weird about it. I'm just not a big fan of it. I mean, I'll watch anything that Chevy Chase is in. I even watched that straight to Netflix one he just did with Richard Dreyfuss, where Dreyfuss is an older comedian that never really, he sacrificed a lot of things and he never saw his dreams come true. And Chevy Chase plays his former manager. And now that they're older and in like a senior's home, they're like, well, let's do it now. Let's accomplish your dream now and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I forget what it's called, but it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but I'll watch anything that he's in because I think he's fucking hilarious, really. Like even now. But I will say that I think I like Vacation just a bit more than Christmas Vacation. That first Vacation, oh man, it's so good. So good. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Like in my top 5. 100% easily. Maybe even top 3. Like I love that movie. Anytime it's on television, I got to sit and watch at least 20 minutes of it. I love it. Let's see here. Okay. Turbo Man says, had to pick a Rob Zombie Halloween and neither is not an answer. Had to pick a Rob Zombie Halloween. I'm not sure what you're saying, Turbo Man. Are you responding to somebody else? Sorry about that, buddy. Jonathan Peterson says, hey, Dave, what are your thoughts on The Omen and The Exorcist? Well, Tony Michael and I, on an episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, we talked about The Exorcist, so you can check that out. I love The Exorcist. I like The Exorcist more than I like The Omen, but I like The Omen too. Both great 70s classics. Super chat from Mark Williams. Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. Says, hey, Dave, thoughts on Michael Mann's film Heat, one of my favorites that I tend to watch once every year. Love the sound design and the shootout. Oh, I saw Heat in the theater back in 1995. Now, in 1995, I was 16, and this movie was rated R. So I was 2 years younger than at least here in Canada. Anyway, you have to be 18 for R films. So I was 2 years younger than I was supposed to be to get into the movie. But I sounded like I do now, and I could grow this. And, I was one of those teenagers that for whatever reason, I just looked like I was older. It's how I was able to get in to see Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers as well, that same year. I love Heat. It is one of my favorite, I guess, action movie, action mob movies. Oh, it's fantastic. Love it. Love Val Kilmer in it. Love Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. That was the first time that De Niro and Pacino had shared a scene together like that, I think. So it was like, I remember at the time, and this is before the internet was around, but it wasn't like it is today. I mean, nobody had the internet. Okay. I didn't have my first email address till I was 19. Okay. I mean, let's look at it that way, right? So it was, you learned about these things on entertainment shows like Entertainment Tonight and in the newspaper and in magazines and movie magazines and shit. And it was on the news. It would make like mainstream news that this is the first time two of the greatest actors in the history of cinema will be sharing a scene. It was like, wow, and my dad was like, you gotta go see it. It's, it's like once in a lifetime, which it would have been. I mean, you can't see them again for the first time again, right? So, I love that movie. Really great film. And the sound design, I love the creative choice not to have any music through that scene. It's just, it's like, the power. It's awesome. Love it. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Much appreciated. Super chat from David Carr, just supporting the channel. Thank you, David. You rock. Super chat from Fun Time Productions. Thoughts on the Strangers films? I liked the first Strangers. I wasn't a big fan of the second one, Pray at Night. I thought the atmosphere was great, but I wrote something about the Strangers, Pray at Night. I wonder if I could bring it up. I don't know how to search on I don't know how to bring it up. I wrote something about the Strangers a long time ago. The sequel, Pray at Night. I wasn't a big fan of it. I basically found, essentially in a nutshell, that in order to justify the narrative continuing beyond 15 minutes, you had to have the characters doing incompetent things to help justify this movie. And I just couldn't get into it because of that. I wasn't a big fan of it. There were some moments that I liked in there for sure. But I think The Strangers is a better film. And I didn't think it needed a sequel at all. And I saw that movie in the theater when it came out as well in 2008, I believe. And I really enjoyed that film. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Aircar33 says European Vacation didn't have the original kids in it. That's what made it weird. That's part of it. There was just also a very different feel to it. It didn't feel... although I will say one of my favorite scenes in any of the vacation movies is in that movie. And that's when they go to visit their cousins in Germany, I guess, and they go to the wrong house and they're there, and like it would never happen like that. Oh, hi, how are you? Oh, and oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, okay, here. I know. Oh, okay, come on in, guys. Yeah, like you would never, like you would actually have a conversation at some point. You would never be talking nonstop so consistently enough that you would not figure out that these people don't speak English and have no idea who the fuck you are, and that's what makes it fucking hilarious, right? And then I love at the end when they're like, who the fuck was that? Oh, I don't know. The fuck would I know? But it's, translated. I love that scene because it's so absurd. It's so funny, right? And they actually spend the night and they're having dinner with them. Like, come on. It's one of my favorite scenes in any of the vacation movies. But the movie overall, not a big fan of. I can watch it and enjoy it on its own merits. I'm just not a big fan of it. Okay, let's see here. A couple super chats came in. Andrew Windermere, thank you, Andrew, says thoughts on Candyman. Would you cover a would I cover it on two? I'm not a big fan of Candyman. Saw the first one. Can't remember if I saw Farewell to the Flesh. Just not a big Candyman fan. So I don't know if Tony is or not. If he is and he wants to do it, we'll do it. Like I'm a team player, totally down for that. But it's not really one that has affected me, so I couldn't care less whether they made another one or whether we ever talked about it. Jim Dorsey, super chat. Thank you, Jim. Says John Carpenter said Chevy was the most difficult actor he's ever worked with. I bet. Called him a piece of shit at a convention I went to. I bet. I could totally believe that. And you know who else would probably be extremely difficult to work with that you could totally buy? John Carpenter. And I'm not claiming that he is, but I bet you he thought the same thing. And I bet you it was somewhere in the middle. I have no doubt that Chevy Chase can be a little arrogant prick. Oh yeah, you can totally see it. I've heard stories. Yeah, as we all have, right? And I think John Carpenter is probably difficult to work with. Maybe not in the same ways, but in his own ways. I could totally see that. So you put those two together and it's like, yep, I can see that being a pain in the ass. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. What do we got? 175 people watching. That's awesome. You guys rock. Aircar33 says, yes, Chevy Chase was and is a prick. He is not on Welcome Back to Silent Land. That's very true. Yep, I agree. Christopher Hernandez says, thoughts on The Heat with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock. I love that movie. I am unapologetically a big fan of Melissa McCarthy, and I don't give a frog's fat ass what anybody thinks. I think she is hilarious. I think she is talented. I don't think every movie she's done has been hilarious. I think, unfortunately, for her comedic career, I know she's starting to branch out into more serious roles, which is good. I quite enjoyed that one that she was nominated for an Oscar for. But, and listen, she can do whatever she wants to do. She's made a name for herself, and I'm sure she will always be offered roles. But her husband, her real-life husband, Ben Falcone, I believe his name is, who cameos in almost every one of her movies, has also directed her in arguably her least, not only least successful movies, but in the movies that are just not very good, like Tammy, and that recent one too, Life of the Party, and I thought there was one more that he directed her in. Anyway, you know, but you look at the films that are arguably her best comedies, like Bridesmaids, which that's an ensemble, so I get that, but that's Paul Feig. Then you look at Spy. That's arguably her best comedy film. That's Paul Feig again. And then you look at one that I actually quite like, Identity Thief. Not as good as Spy, but light years ahead of Tammy and Life of the Party. And of course, she also has a really good comedic actor who knows how to play the straight man opposite her in Jason Bateman. So that obviously helps too. So I think she's got another movie coming out with Ben Falcone, her husband, as a director. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, for me, I can find moments in Tammy and Life of the Party that are fine. But overall, they're nowhere near the caliber of the other films she's been in. Oh, and sorry, The Heat with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock is also Paul Feig, right? So Paul Feig has directed Bridesmaids, Life of the Party, and The Heat. And you could make the argument that The Heat is her best comedy, right? You could make that argument as well. So I think, maybe she just got to stick with Paul Feig. But the point I'm making is that I think she is far too talented to be continuing to be in comedies that are, she's fucking hilarious. She is. And when you put her in the right movie with the right director and the right people opposite her, it's a win-win. I mean, she's extraordinarily talented and really funny, and I'm unabashedly a big fan. I don't care what anybody says. She seems like the person you just love to hate now, and I'm just like, I don't care. I think she's great. So I love that movie. I own it. I think it's great. Let's see here. Okay, a couple of super chats. Dog34, thank you, buddy. Says, great channel. Have you seen Autopsy of Jane Doe? Oh, wait a minute. Let me just see if that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay, no, it's not the one I'm thinking of. No, I have not seen that movie. I must be thinking of another movie. You're talking about the one that was just released a couple years ago, right? I have not seen it. 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, though. That's really good. I'll keep that in mind and have to check it out. Where are we here? Okay, there we are. Okay, let's see here. Super chat from Frank Riker. Favorite alcoholic beverage? I'm not a big drinker, but I would say either Rickard's Red or just some kind of cooler. I don't like the taste of alcohol. So if I can, I can do like a rye and Coke or something like that where I can taste a bit of it. It's not too much. But anything that's really bitter or something, it's not a big fan of. That's probably why I don't like coffee. I hate coffee. I don't drink coffee. I haven't had a coffee. Honestly now, I have not had a coffee. This is 100% true. I'm not lying. Since 2001. Or no, maybe 2000 actually. It's been nearly 20 years. It's been nearly 20 years. I just don't like the taste of coffee. Love the smell of some coffee, like percolated coffee in the morning, or love the smell, hate the taste. So I don't do well with bitter. Even dark chocolate, it's got to be at least 70% dark chocolate, right? You start getting to 85, 90, it's like, oh, a little, and all that baker's chocolate that we as kids all went into the cupboard and hit, thought we hit the jackpot. Oh my God! Who here as a kid thought that, or did that? So yeah, I'd say probably something that's a bit sweeter, that I can't really taste it. Fun Times Production says, worst horror movie ever. Worst. I don't, well, I can tell you off the top of my head, 2 bad ones for me would be Motorhome Massacre, but that's not really fair. That's a B movie that went straight to DVD in 2005. And Don't Go Into the Woods from the early 80s was fucking atrocious. So there's 2 right there. Worst one ever, though, I'm not too sure. I have to think about it more. Aaron Keller says, hey, Dave, did you know Michael Myers can fly? Ha ha! Aaron, you witty son of a bitch. Yes, apparently he can fly. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he's doing it, but apparently he can. Let's see here. Mr. Scary says, Michael is supernatural, God damn it. Depends on which version you're talking about. Let's see here. The Manhammer AR-15 says, Dave, have you tried Kopi Luwak coffee? No, I've never even heard of it. It comes from cat's poop. I'm serious. I bet you are. Haven't heard of it. But if you pay me, maybe I'll try it. Almost Brock. This is almost Brock right here. Brock Lesnar? This is almost him. Not quite him, almost him. Dave, can you talk about the new Rob Zombie film that's coming out, 3 from Hell? Talk about it. Well, The Devil's Rejects is a Rob Zombie film that I thought was okay because I was watching it based on its own merits, but I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan. I just don't like his movies. I don't like his torture porn kind of film. I don't like the fact that every one of his movies, I feel like I'm watching the white trash of the world. And I get that that's a creative choice. It's on purpose. That's his style. But I'm tired. I can watch one movie where that's like that. But I can't watch a slew of films that are like that. So I don't like Rob Zombie as a director. I think he's talented. I do. But I think he makes dog shit movies for the most part. And they're exploitive torture porn. They have their place. But I have no interest, nor am I excited for 3 from Hell. I just don't care about it. But if you are, that's awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I do. Just not a big fan of the aesthetic and the style that he brings in the right mood. Like if he was to do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre where that style sort of is like that because it takes place in, the sticks of Texas, and no offense to Texas. Hey, we got some sticks and hicks up here in Ontario too. Okay. I'm just saying that, because it takes place in a certain location and because it's a certain family, we can say, right, with a certain IQ and all that, it almost lends itself to his style. So I would be very curious to see his version of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But other than that, just not a big fan of his work. House of a Thousand Corpses was all right because it was just weird, but I have trouble getting into his, it's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. I would much rather watch a Tarantino film. And I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan. He's an acquired taste for me, but I would much rather watch him. I think he's much better, he's a much better filmmaker than Zombie is. Zombie's a little too one-dimensional for me. Okay. Let's see here. Charty_Dark says, hey Dave, how would you feel if Rob Zombie stole your idea for Halloween 2020 concept for this sequel to his Halloween films? Would it piss you off? Yes, it would piss me off. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. Legally, you cannot copyright an idea. I mean, if I had it written, because I don't own the IP anyway. So, I mean, even if I had written it down, I don't own the IP. I mean, there's really not much I can do. Now, there are loopholes and things like that you might be able to, make a stink about. But if my idea was original and I had written a fleshed out script and I owned the characters and the story, not the idea, but the story per se, and it was registered with the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, which is important. You screenwriters out there, if you have a screenplay, register it with the WGA. I registered mine, the one that I've been working on for 20 years with the WGA, although it's since expired. I gotta re-register it. I'm trying to like get it to where I want it to be, and then I'm going to register again. That's one of the reasons why I'm not talking about it publicly, because obviously I want to preserve that as much as possible. But anyway, so yeah, but to answer your question, hypothetically in a fantasy world, would I be upset? Yeah, of course. I'd be like, what the fuck, man? It's my idea, you son of a bitch. Okay. Nightmare Ninja 2.0 says, can I have a shout out, please? And my real name is Cameron. Love your Halloween videos. Cameron, this shout out is for you. Keep rocking and doing whatever the heck you are doing. You are a ninja. You are the knight. You are the meanest, baddest motherfucker in the world because you are a ninja. Cameron, keep rocking it. How was that? Was that a good shout out? Okay, good. Now everybody's going to be asking me for shout-outs. Don't start doing that. It's going to take up too much time. Kevin Fishgall says, Dave, you such a good YouTuber. I see what you did there, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch! I see what you did there. Love it, Kevin. Love it. Yeah, for those of you that don't know what, go watch the video that I uploaded earlier today where I read some of the hate mail I get. And to be fair, like I know there were a lot of people in the comments section, and I appreciate it. They were saying, oh, we love you, Dave. Don't worry about it. Oh, it doesn't bother me. I mean, keep in mind, like I get a lot of messages, and this is like 5 or 6 of them, right? Like it's like 98% of the messages I get are awesome stuff. Like really, at the end of the day. So it doesn't, I mean, maybe if I was getting nothing but that, it might be a little tough, right? But fortunately I don't. So that's why they're so fun to pick out and just kind of, and it doesn't surprise me, the typos, because when you look at people that type in the comments section, you see that kind of thing all the time. So it only makes sense that it would carry over and when somebody's being all angry and stuff, but it just makes it funnier. It makes it, I don't know if it would be as fun or as funny if the typos weren't there. So that's why I always tell my assistant, like, when you're copying and pasting them and emailing me, don't fix the typos because it makes it more fun. And they're like, oh yeah. No, I'm not going to do that. So that's what that's from. Go watch that video. If you haven't watched my hate mail videos, I think you guys you'll find them hilarious. All real shit. Honest to goodness. Turbo Man says, Dave, which Rob Zombie Halloween if you could not say neither? Oh, that I had to watch again and again and again. I'd say the first one. Let It Go 101 says, Dave, when are you going on space? Again, from the hate mail video. I don't know. I know I can go into space. I'm not so sure how I can actually go on to space. Maybe there's a way that when I get into space, I can get on space and be on it, looking around. Fascinating. Starkiller says, if you were trapped in a house with Chucky, how would you fight him? I would fight him like, I'd go all like, and I'd be like, fucking just, come on, son of there you go. Let's see here. Psycho Sid says, hey, question. All right. Knock it out of the park. Whatever your question is. Let me scroll back. I just want to make sure I don't miss any super chats. Super chat came in from Nick. See, almost missed it. That's why I got to scroll back sometimes. Hey, Dave, favorite soundtrack song in any movie? Favorite soundtrack song in any movie? Great distinction, Nick. That's so hard. I mean, The Power of Love from Back to the Future is awesome. Man in the Mask at the end of Friday the 13th Part 6 is awesome song by Alice Cooper. Song. Holiday Road and Vacation is classic. I don't know if I have a favorite, but there's a few there that are awesome, right? There's so many. Yeah, Stand By Me at the end of Stand By Me, all the songs in Stand By Me, all the old classics, like, every day it's a getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. I mean, all the songs in there are just great. Like, there's so many good movies with great songs. Great question, Nick. Thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Rushmore 309 says, thoughts on the film. Thoughts on the film Ma. I was pleasantly surprised. Not a classic, but a nice idea, and Octavia Spencer gave a quality performance. I have yet to see it. I'm waiting for it to come to streaming, and then I'm going to watch it. I love Octavia Spencer, though. I think she's extraordinarily talented. David Carr says, I messed up accidentally. I didn't attach my question to my super chat. Damn. Oh, you didn't? It didn't come through as a super chat. You can still super chat if you want, or you can ask it just on your own. I don't see a super chat here from you. Let's go back here. No. Don't see it. So I think you're good, because I don't see anything from you here. Dahlia Williams says, Dave, what are your thoughts on the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? That's the one with Johnny Depp, right? It's hard for me because, I mean, listen, it's a whimsical, fantastical story anyway. I mean, even the original with Gene Wilder. I tell you, memes don't get me very often. They really don't. Oh, well, I can't say that. If a meme is really good, I actually do, laugh out loud. And earlier today, I saw that one floating around where it's Gene Wilder from Bride of Frankenstein, where he's like this, right? I think that's the movie. And then you have him from some other film where he's calmer, and it's like Gene Wilder, Gene Wilder, Gene Calmer. It's so stupid, but it gets you. You're like, anyway. The original I like, but it's whimsical and fantastical. I'm just not a big Johnny Depp fan. I think Johnny Depp is actually incredibly talented, but he chooses he's like this, I don't know what, he revels in these weird emo roles, and I'm just so fucking sick and tired of seeing him in. Now, he's a very wealthy man. He lives a very good life. He doesn't need to probably ever work ever again for the rest of his life. But as an actor, you would think that he would want to branch out and do other shit instead of these goddamn emo movies he's always in, where he's always eccentric and, and stuff. And it's just like, I can't stand why. Like, get out of the. I want to see a movie where Johnny Depp has less makeup than my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, God, can I just see him, please? It's just, I can't. I like him, but anyways, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's just hard for me to get into because he's so, I don't know. Yeah, but I like the original film. Gene Wilder was great. Laura Strapone, hey Dave, have a great weekend. Hey, you too, Laura. Thanks for checking in. You're awesome. Let's see. Just going back. Super chat. No. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. Peter Fonda earlier today passed away. He was 79 years old. The great late legend Peter Fonda. So another legend, I should do another video talking about legends. A few months back, I talked about how, over the next 10 years or so, give or take, we're going to start losing some real legends in the entertainment industry just by where we are in terms of the time and how old these people are. And I found it kind of funny how there were some people that were chiming in with, people like, yeah, like Jack Black. And, like, first of all, we're not probably going to lose him in the next 10 years. And Jack Black is not a legend. He might be eventually, but he's not. I'm talking about cinematic entertainment legends like your Kirk Douglases, your Harrison Fords, your Stallones, your Schwarzeneggers, your Elton Johns, your Spielbergs, your Lucases, your Scorseses, your, De Niro's, Pacinos, I mean, your Meryl Streeps, I'm talking about like real, and Peter Fonda, there's one there, just one out. I mean, Dick Van Dyke is 90 something. Betty White is 90 something, right? I mean, there's so many people that we're going to lose over the next 10 years. if you think about it, right? At least 15. I mean, we're going to start seeing these legends start to go away. And it's just scary. It's crazy to think. I mean, it's crazy to think that in 10 years I'll be 50. It's unbelievable. Okay, let's see here. You guys are awesome. Okay, I like getting people I've never covered. Psycho Sid says, what do you like about the Halloween Tots masks? Not very much. Although I will say, the recently released the recently released original Halloween mask, it doesn't look anything really as good as the promotional image that they released, which I didn't expect it would. I did a video on that when that came out. But I will say that seeing people buy it, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, listen, 25 years ago, I would have given anything to be able to walk into a store and buy that mask for $60. 25 years ago, in 1994, I was 15. And I felt that I was too old to trick or treat, which I think I kind of am. I mean, I know 15-year-olds still go out, but I just kind of felt weird. So my buddy Bruce and I decided to put on a haunted house type thing at my house. But I wanted to dress up as Michael Myers. And this was before Curse of Michael Myers. This is before H2O. H2O really put Michael back into the pop culture consciousness on a level we hadn't seen in years. And for those of you that are old enough to remember, you've heard me say this. You couldn't buy a legit Michael Myers mask if your life depended on it. And the masks you did buy, you knew they were supposed to be Michael Myers masks or a version of, but it's not like it said Michael Myers mask. It would say something like, Halloween mask or fright scary Halloween mask. It would say something weird. And it was like one of those old Dawn Post 80s, like it didn't, with the brown eyebrows and the ones I'm talking. That's what it was. Looked nothing like Michael Myers. So the fact that we now, and for all of you that are a bit younger, that you can actually have it delivered to your house. You don't have to go. I had to go around Ottawa, which is where I grew up, Ottawa, Canada, the nation's capital, where I grew up as a teenager. I remember having to go around and try to find play. You had to open the phone book. You had to call. You had to look for all that shit. And it's not like I'm old. I mean, I'm only 40, but I'm old enough to remember, obviously, when that was common practice, as a lot of us do. And I went to a costume shop by the name of Malabar's in Ottawa. It might still be there on Merivale Road. If anybody is watching from Ottawa or Eastern Ontario, and you know that area, I don't know if Malabar's is still there. There used to be one in Toronto as well. But anyway, I went there and I saw that cheap, tight, brown eyebrows. The one time it was, and at the time I was like, oh shit. That's Michael Myers, because we didn't have anything to compare it to, really. Like, we thought, wow, And I bought it for $59.99. So to get a mask that looks like that now for $59.99, that's pretty awesome. To be fair, those people that are buying it are also rehauling it and painting it themselves and adding shading and shit like that. And then a lot of the rehauled versions do make the mask look 10,000 times better. So, because obviously when you mass produce something, it's not about quality, it's about quantity. And the details and the nuances and the subtleties that you see in a lot of the independent masks are lost because it's all about dishing it out as fast as we can. But I think it's a great base. I actually think it's a pretty solid base, and it's way better than their Halloween 2 mask. It's way better than their Elrod mask, which is now the something else, I think it's called. Way better than that one. So it's probably the best Michael Myers mask they have. And if and again, it's all about lighting, folks. It's all about teasing up the hair a bit and getting yourself in the right lighting, because even the original mask in bright light doesn't look like anything special. So remember that. Okay, let's see here. Zach Axiola says, Dave, your top five Eddie Murphy movies introduced me to films I've never heard of. Really? What are your thoughts on really? Let me take a guess. You haven't heard of The Golden Child, and you haven't heard of 48 Hours. That's going to be my guess, because I find it very hard to believe that you haven't heard of Coming to America or Beverly Hills Cop. I think it's going to be those two films. The Nutty Professor, I haven't seen them in a long time. Did he not do two of them? I think he did two of them. Or was that I think he did two. Anyway, I like the first one. I thought and the first one, for those of you that are old enough to remember, that was a big hit for Eddie. Because Eddie had some shit movies through the early 90s. And in 1994, when Beverly Hills Cop 3 came out, people thought, oh, this is going to be like, he's going to be back. That was a dog shit movie. And it's too bad because it was directed by, Landis there. What the fuck's his first name? The chat room will tell me. Anyways, it was directed by him. And John Landis, that's it. John Landis. And, it just wasn't a very good movie. I didn't think anyway. So he had some duds. Like, he had some duds in the late 80s, early 90s that were just doing nothing for him. And then he got The Nutty Professor. And that other one that was in the 90s as well. What's that other one from the 90s that he did? What's that other one? Eddie Murphy. Let me just see here. Eddie Murphy. He had another one in the mid-90s. Dr. Oh, no, I'm actually thinking... Yes, Dr. Dolittle. That's the one. Right. The Nutty Professor, which was a big hit for him. Dr. Dolittle was also a big hit for him as well. So he had The Nutty Professor and Dr. Dolittle. So those two movies actually did pretty well for him in the mid-90s. And then he got into Shrek in the early 2000s, where he played the donkey. So that was good. But then he didn't do anything. I mean, he's done other movies. But in terms of global box office success, in terms of the broader appeal, in terms of what would be the general consensus of being a hit, that doesn't mean that you may not like Life, or you may not like The Adventures of Pluto Nash, or whatever it was. Oh God, maybe you do like that one. Maybe you like 1,000 Words. Maybe you like Norbit. Maybe you like... But the general consensus is that these are doing nothing. And they were doing nothing. And he hit a stalemate. And so now he has a movie that's coming out straight to Netflix called My Name is Dolomite, I think, or something. If you haven't checked out the trailer for that, YouTube the trailer now. It's really funny. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a return to form, but it's really funny. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And maybe this will be the first where it's pretty good. And then maybe Coming to America 2 will be really good. I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see. Edward Nito, super chat. Thanks, Edward. Much appreciated. You rock, man. Matthew Todd says, your voice acting dynamic to your vids is incredible. To my vids? You mean like the promos and the trailers that I upload to show you guys? Is that what you mean? Or just my theatrics when I'm just being silly? Maybe that's what you mean. Thank you, though. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Let's see. The Film Addict says, hey, Dave, where is your sword? Oh, my sword. Yeah, I actually own a katana sword. It's in the other room out there. I own a Rambo knife, too, and a machete. Yeah, I know. I'm all like lethal back here. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Don't come to my house, you sons of bitches. Let's see. Charlie McGrath says, losing legends in the next 10 years. Davey Downer. Hey, it's reality, man. The biggest one that's going to hit me, the biggest one, and there's some big ones, but the biggest one that's going to hit me is Harrison Ford. He's already 76. I mean, maybe he'll be able to live, but let's face it, right? I mean, if you can live, like when you hit your late 70s, early 80s, you're generally living on borrowed time, because the average age for a man, it's a little older in Canada, but not by much, right? I think in the States, I think it's the average age is like 77 or something like that. In Canada, I think it's like 79, 80. And then women obviously are biologically, internally stronger for a variety of reasons. So they tend to live a few years longer. So for women, I think it's like 83 or something in the States. Here, maybe 85 or something like that. It's marginal at the end of the day. But once you start to hit that age, you're living on borrowed time. And I mean, you know, like, I will say though, Steven Spielberg, who is like 73 or 4, his mom lived to 97. His dad is still alive today at 101. So if the genes fit, not those kind of genes, I'm talking about the genes. If the genes with a G, if the genes fit, then in theory, maybe if he remains healthy enough, we'll get another 20 years of Spielberg movies. Hopefully. We'll see. I don't know. That's crazy to think though, right? Like, what kind of Hollywood blood what are they drinking down there? Oh. Sucks though. I agree with you. Okay, just scrolling back. Super chat. No. Okay, good. Let's see here. David, big supporter of the channel. Patron. David, nice to see you here tonight. People are living longer these days. Oh, they are. They absolutely are. But generally speaking, most people don't live into their late 80s, early 90s, right? I mean, really, right? There's not too many 95-year-olds running around out there. So usually when we start to hit the late 70s, early 80s, we're living on borrowed time, right? And it's crazy to think, you know, that doesn't mean that De Niro and Pacino and Elton John and Harrison Ford and Stallone and Arnie won't all live to 98. But we know the chances of that happening are highly unlikely. You know, it's just crazy to think. Okay, let's see here. Michael Myers is in the house. What if Kurt Russell made a cameo in a Halloween movie? Weird. I love Kurt Russell. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this. About 4 years ago, when I was at the Voice Arts Awards, or when I was in Hollywood for the Voice Arts Awards, it was 2015, and I had been nominated for my first Voice Arts Award. I was going to say nominated for my first Voice Arts Award nomination, but that didn't make any sense. Anyway, so we were staying at the Roosevelt Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard. For those of you that have been there, you might know it. Maybe you've stayed there. Really nice hotel. Awesome stuff. And because it was my first nomination, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go all out. So I'm going to get a ritzy hotel. I'm going to get a driver to pick us up from the airport. And I kid you not, the driver that picked me up was one of Leonardo DiCaprio's former drivers. That's what he told me. I kid you not. And he had stories galore. Like, when you're in LA, it's not difficult to believe. I mean, it's a sea of this kind of shit out there, right? So I thought it was really cool. And he was telling us about, when he found out that we were Canadian, he started to tell us, he had also driven around Justin Bieber. And what was his girlfriend? Justin Bieber, the girlfriend he had, the singer. What was her name? The brunette, young girl. I always forget her name. The chat room will let me know. Come on, chat. You can do it. What the fuck was her name? I'm thinking of it. I don't think they're together now, right? Selena Gomez. That's it. Thank you, Guillermo Medina. Thank you. Yes, Selena Gomez. That's it. So when he found out that we were Canadian, he's like, and he's telling me all these stories about how he would drive around Bieber and Gomez and how they would continue to make out in the back of his car, or not car, his Suburban. Okay. And he had to like tell them to stop because it was getting like really hot and heavy. The story, he had been driving in LA for years, and he was hired by certain people, to, you know, and he would never really know who specifically. Sometimes he would. Like, sometimes the company would say, okay, be on time because you're picking up this person today. And it was like, oh, shit. Okay, it's like, you know, DiCaprio. Okay, I got to be on time, right? Like, when you get to that level, it's like, fuck, right? So anyway, I don't think he was driving them around anymore. This was a couple years prior to even when I was there. But cool stories, really cool guy. His name was... I still have his number in my phone, I think. His name was, I don't have my phone. Well, anyways, I don't want to give his name actually, just in case, but he was a foreign guy, but really nice guy. So anyway, the point of this was, I just thought that was cool. So I splurged, right? I went all out, didn't know who I was going to get, just knew that it was from a reputable Hollywood, limo kind of company. So it was really cool because I'm like, why not? My first VAA award nomination, you got to go in style, right? So that's what we did. So the night we were leaving to go to the Voice Arts Awards, we were walking down the steps in the Roosevelt, and we were walking towards where the valet parking is, because that's where the driver was going to come in. And I'm walking down these steps, and I know that there's people behind me. Okay. My girlfriend is here. She looks great, right? Like, looks amazing. And I'm in my suit and everything, and we're ready to go. And there's conversations behind us, and the one guy that's talking sounds so familiar. Like, it just sounds like his voice sounds incredibly familiar. And I'm like, and it didn't take long, because come on, Kurt Russell's got a pretty distinct voice, right? And I knew instantly it was Kurt Russell. Now, funny enough, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, it's Kurt Russell for me. Even though I'm a big fan, I'm like, holy shit, it's Kurt Russell, right? Like, you do have that moment for a moment. Like, let's get serious, right? But all I could think about was my sister, Jill. And I don't know if Jill is watching. Sometimes she tunes in. I'm not sure. I didn't conk out there, right? Did I conk out? I don't think I did. I know the feed is starting to go a little wonky a bit. Are we okay? Like, we're okay, right? I didn't conk out. You didn't miss anything. Do I have to go back and retell something that you might have missed? I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay. I just want to make sure, because I heard some funky things with the program. It's fine. Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, guys. I just want to make sure, because I heard some funky things happening with OBS. Okay. So anyway, so the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, I know that's Kurt Russell. Is he staying at the Roosevelt? Which is not unprecedented, because a month after we got back was the release of The Force Awakens. And Mark Hamill was staying at the Roosevelt. I don't know if he was staying there, but he was in a room there changing into a stormtrooper costume to go out onto the street, onto Hollywood Boulevard, and fool people dressed as so I mean, this is a hot place, right? And so my first thought was, is he staying there? Like, what the fuck, right? That's kind of cool. Love Kurt Russell. But then as quickly as I thought that, I thought of my sister Jill, because she is the biggest Kurt Russell fan alive. And I thought, oh my God, if Jill were here right now, like there was Tom Selleck back in the 80s, right? And there was Kurt Russell, for my sister Jill. I'm probably embarrassing her if she's watching, but just so cool. And so as we walked down the steps, we sort of walked over here to our right, because I wanted to sort of let them pass so I could make sure that it was who I thought it was. And sure enough, it was. And he was there. He was dressed to the nines as well. He wasn't going to the Voice Arts Awards. I don't know where he was going, but he was going somewhere fancy. And he was there with an older gentleman and some kids. I don't think does he have kids that young? I don't think he does. I didn't see Goldie Hawn. I just saw him with an older gentleman who may or may not have been related to him. I don't know. I don't know if it's a relative or not, but he was waiting for a Suburban to come by and pick him up. And I took a photo on my phone from afar a bit, and I felt kind of cheap doing that, because, it's like, just so I could show my sister, right? So I did that, but I didn't go up and talk to him, because I didn't feel that, I'm going to, like, I didn't want to be that guy. Like, maybe if we were at the award show, maybe if he was going to the Voice Arts Awards, or I was going to wherever he was going, and I saw him there, that's different, right? And I saw that maybe there was an opportunity, because I don't want to be that guy. The last thing I want to be is that guy. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm there, like, I'm there in a professional environment. I'm there, I don't want to be that guy. So I didn't go up to him and say anything. But I just saw him and took notice. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I immediately Facebooked my sister and was like, you're not going to believe who I'm standing in who's here at the hotel with me? She's like, who? And I'm like, Kurt Russell. She's like, oh my God, Kurt Russell. So that was kind of fun. And sure enough, he got into a car or into a Suburban and went to wherever he was going. I don't know. He was going to some gala because he was in a tuxedo. And then of course, right after that, ours came up and we went to the Voice Arts Award. So that's my Kurt Russell story. Kind of cool. Didn't meet him, but nonetheless, kind of a funky thing that when you go out to LA, you just never know what's going to happen. Pretty cool shit. I'm telling you. Pretty cool shit. Mr. Scary says, Kurt Russell taught me to never get married. His relationship. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. And they're one of Hollywood's longest established couples. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have their problems. I'm sure Kurt and Goldie have had some issues, but they're still together, and apparently they're very much in love, and they've never been married. I mean, for all intents and purposes they are, but they never have been, right? So I think that's awesome. But yeah, pretty cool stuff to be in the same room walking. It's like, oh my God, is that Kurt Russell? That fucking is Kurt Russell. My sister's gonna fucking love this shit. It was awesome. It was really cool. All right. I thought somebody said here that I missed their super chat. Let me see here. The Film Addict says, hey Dave, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yesterday and I loved it. Thoughts on the ending? Me and my friends were... The ending of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but the Film Addict has seen it, so I'll talk directly to him. And for those that have seen it, when it started to unfold, I felt a little weird because it was like, oh, like this is not... I felt almost like you shouldn't do that. You should do it in the same. But then I'm like, I'm watching a Tarantino film. He takes creative liberties a lot. And in some ways, it was his way of rewriting history and erasing the horrible events of that night. Now, obviously, you could never literally do that. But in some sort of way, it was a nice thing to do on some level. And then, of course, you realize, of course, the craziness that happens. It's wild, right? So I quite enjoyed it. I did, yeah. But it took a while. I was like, oh, how do I feel about this? Okay, I'm okay with it. Yeah, somebody said I missed a super chat. I'm scrolling up here. We got Edward Nito, who just donated $2. You're awesome. Thanks, buddy. I scroll up and I see Fun Time Production says, thoughts on Friday 13th game. Okay, maybe it was you that said that about the game. I didn't see this super chat. I played it a couple of times. Haven't played it in a while. I like it. I want to see a Friday the 13th game. Well, I want to see a Halloween game, but I want to see an open world Halloween game, like the Halloween game that I proposed, I think like a year and a half ago or something. Open world, full on fucking shit. That's what I want to see. And then beyond that, I think I got all the super chats. Yeah, I think I did. I don't see any others here. Well, I do see the one that's just come in, which is a large amount. Thank you so much. Who is this? Who is this amazing human being? Maybe this is the person. Oh, I think you're this guy. It probably took a while to go through because of how large it is. Dreadmem77, buddy, you are awesome. That is so kind of you to support the channel in that way. Very much appreciated. You rock, man. Seriously, it does not go unnoticed, and it goes right back into the channel to keep these shows going and to make me, not to make me, but to allow me to have this time in to schedule these things for you outside of all the other shit that's going on. So thank you so much. You guys are amazing. That's awesome. He says, hey Dave, just want to support your upcoming fan film. It's me, Billy. Cool. I'm sure you and Bruce will do a great job on it. I have no doubt it'll be better than the actual movie coming out later this year. I don't know. We'll see. Keep up the great work with your content. Cheers. Thank you so much. That is amazing. I'm actually thinking about, we are going to eventually launch an Indiegogo campaign for It's Me, Billy. We're not quite there yet. We're still writing the script. The first draft of the script is nearly done. And then Bruce and I will get together again and go over it and start to pick things out and polish it up a bit, and add things and keep things and strengthen it up a bit. And then once that's done, I think we are planning very soon to shoot a little kind of teaser, nothing big, just something kind of, to get you excited, that will go with the Indiegogo campaign. We're working on the tiers right now. Like, it's a whole process, right? And eventually, once that's done, we'll launch it, and you'll also be able to support the film that way as well. And I'm also thinking about doing, I think I mentioned this, doing a live AMA where I do nothing but take super chats. Now, that's not going to be the norm. I just mean specifically like a fundraiser kind of thing, right? Like a telethon kind of, old school telethon thing, right? To help raise money for the film. And maybe I'll go for 3 or 4 hours or something, and we'll just kind of take super chats, and however big or small, doesn't matter. $1, $2, 99 cents, whatever it is, right? It all helps. And so we're thinking about doing that as well. And maybe I'll get Bruce in here as well to be a part of it. So not 100% sure yet, but those are things we're thinking about. But this definitely, yes, we will put this towards the film. You rock. Amazing shit, guys. I tell you, I can't speak for any other channels, but it never ceases to amaze me the awesome generosity of the subscribers here, and the great questions as well. And I think you guys are just awesome. Okay, let's see here. Donald Coleman says, Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York are still fun to watch. They will never get... Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It was so cool. Like, I didn't have a lot of time to think. Right? Because I'm like, oh my God, it's Kurt Russell. I don't want to be like, oh, hi, Kurt. I didn't want to be that guy because I'm in a suit as well. And I'm clearly going to somewhere, professional. So I didn't want to be that guy. But all that went through my head in a matter of seconds. And then I had to take the photo for my sister. And then it was like, oh my God, right? So yeah, he's classic. And one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies, he's been on some gems, is the 1998? I always get this mixed up. I think it's 7, actually. Breakdown. One of my not only one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies, one of my favorite action movies, if you will, action thrillers of all time. Breakdown. Who here has seen the movie Breakdown? And if you have not seen the movie Breakdown, starring Kurt Russell, you have got to see that movie. It's one of my favorite action movies of all time. I kid you not. It's amazing. You've got to watch it. You're doing yourself a disservice if you've not seen it. If you are a big Kurt Russell fan, then you definitely have to see it. The J Hookmaster says, have you seen Poseidon, the Kurt Russell one from 2006, I think, or something? I have. I actually didn't mind that movie. Now, I agree that when you compare it to the original film, but I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was all right. And I believe that's a, what's his face? The director of Independence Day and The Day After Tomorrow. Oh, fuck. I'm brain farting. Anyway, that director. I think he did that. Let's see here. See if I can get some people that I haven't done. Hey, Folsom Proctor says, hey, Dave, longtime viewer, first time in the live chat. Awesome. Welcome. Big fan of John Carpenter. He said recently he wants to do another film. Do you think he has another great film in him? I don't know. The landscape has changed so much. Do I think John Carpenter has another film in him? Yes. Do I think John Carpenter has the patience and drive and motivation to step back into a multi-million-dollar production and, take on the reins as the director, the buck stops with me kind of role and deliver a horror film? I don't know. He's really passionate right now with his music. He's a very wealthy man who lives off the residuals of the movies, mostly Halloween, that he created. And like he's often said, I am at my happiest when I don't have to do fuck all. I can just open my hand and let a check fall in, and I can play, video games and watch basketball. That's what he said. Maybe he'll do something small. Maybe a miniseries, maybe he'll direct an episode of something for Netflix or, I could see that. But a full-fledged major motion picture, I'm skeptical. I'm not skeptical that he might not be able to pull it off. I'm skeptical that he would just even do it because of his age and because of just kind of where he is now. He's got nothing to prove. He's got nothing to prove. You know, it would have to be something that really inspires him. Like when you get to the point, whether you're at the Hollywood level or you're not, you're at home and you're doing an art project or whatever it is. In order for you to be fully committed, you must be inspired to do it. You have to want to do it. It has to be something that just, affects you on a certain emotional level. And maybe something like that will come along for him. And maybe it won't. We'll see. But if it doesn't come along like that, I don't see him doing somebody else's major motion picture. I just don't see it. Wolfgang Peter. Oh, it was Wolfgang Peterson that directed it. Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah, because Wolfgang Peterson directed Air Force One with Harrison Ford in 97. I thought it was the other guy, Wolfgang Peterson. Well, he's great too. I mean, he's good at that kind of thing. Jim Dorsey says, work with Chevy Chase again. Yeah, I don't know about that. Movie Chat and More says, hey, Dave, not including Rocky or Rambo, what is your favorite Sly movie? Love Copland. Copland is up there huge. Love Copland. It would probably be my next favorite. Followed by maybe, I don't know. You know what? I have a guilty pleasure for Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd. I don't know if it's because when I was a teenager and I saw it, I was like, oh my God, Diane Lane is really hot, which she is, and she still is. She's still beautiful. And she looks great in that movie. And I'm a big Sly fan, and I love the idea of redemption and revenge. I like that movie. It's not a great movie, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I love Judge Dredd, the 96 version, I think it is. So that's one I like. I like Cliffhanger. That's a classic. I like Over the Top. Love Over the Top. And I also like Locked Up. I think Locked Up is a great... You know what? Movie Chat and More. Tango and Cash with Kurt Russell. We were just talking about him. That's right. I should do a top... It would be tough to do a top... You've inspired me, Movie Chat and More. It would be tough to do a top 5 Sly. It would be tough to do a top 5 Sly. Which is why it makes it interesting to see if I could do it. For me, obviously. I mean, your list may and probably will vary, but I might have to make it a top 5 with maybe 2 honorable mentions again, like I did with Eddie Murphy. I don't know. That's tough, man. Excuse me. That's tough. That's awesome shit. Let's see here. Cobra, yeah. Jerp Pin says Cobra. Demolition Man, of course. How could I forget Demolition Man? 111 high HGH. I see what you did there. Yes, and you know what? Thunder Knock Studios. You might be making a joke there in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I kind of think it's funny. I spat there. That's what happens when you're talking for so long. I kind of think it's funny. I love Estelle Getty. I think she's hilarious. And I think Stallone does comedy. You know, again, is it a great movie? No. But it's one of those movies that is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Davey Devolution says First Blood. Well, that's Rambo, right? We're talking best Sly movies or favorite Sly films that are not Rambo or Rocky. But yeah, First Blood is awesome. Oh yeah, Get Carter. I saw Get Carter in the theater back in the year 2000. That's the one with him and Mickey Rourke. I like Get Carter. Yeah, he's done some gems. I even kind of like Bullet to the Head from a couple years ago. That was all right. Expendables, right? Davey Johnson says, Dave, what's your favorite The Two Coreys film? Oh, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. That's a good question. I have to think about that. I got to think about that. Let me just scroll back here, make sure I didn't miss any super chats. No. Okay, last one was the very generous donation from from Dreed Mem 77. Awesome shit. Okay, let's see here. Jeff Nelson says Kurt Russell has been in more John Carpenter films than anyone. It's true, he has, including the made-for-television movie Elvis, where he played Elvis. Remember that? Is that a coincidence that Dick Warlock is his personal stuntman? Well, he's still not his I don't think Dick Warlock is still Kurt Russell's personal stuntman. You mean was his personal stuntman? No, probably not. It's probably not a coincidence. David Brooks says, man, someone just gave $100. That's 3 nights on the booze. Well, it is. YouTube does get a percentage of that. Don't forget that. It's not just, it doesn't go all right into my pocket. But it's a generous donation, and it's amazing. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, I will get a large portion of that, and it goes right back into the channel. Like, that's what's so great about Super Chats, because it helps keep these shows on the air, and for me to set time aside to be able to do them, because when support is coming in, then I can justify rescheduling certain other things that I am being paid for, right? But when you are being paid as a voice actor or as a plumber or as whatever the case is, whatever your job is, the money comes first. So when people help to donate towards the channel, it goes right back into the channel by helping me schedule the time and say, hey, you know what? I can put that over there because I'm going to do this and all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's a great way of keeping these shows going. So, and every little bit helps. There's no limit, no small, I don't care what it is. You know, I think it's amazing. So, definitely awesome stuff. And you certainly don't have to do that. That was very, very generous of him to do that. And I'm going to take that portion when it comes in and put it towards It's Me, Billy. So that's awesome stuff. Super chat from Nick. Awesome. Ever stop a horror flick for being too scary? No, but I have stopped a horror flick from being really shitty, like The Grudge 2. Oh my God. It was fucking awful. I remember watching that movie and thought it was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Vampire's Coffin says, Dave, how would you feel if Kurt plays an older Snake for a third and final time? I would be okay with it. But I don't know if, like, you see, Escape from New York and Escape from LA, listen, I love John Carpenter, I do. But his movies they always have a B movie feel. It's a B movie. And B movies at the time, in the 70s and 80s, they were cool. Now you watch a B movie, it's like, oh, this sucks because it's a B movie, or it's got a certain style, or it's got a certain level of acting or dialogue, you know, or it's got a certain cachet to it that seems cheesy or satirical or whatever. And sometimes it's hard for people to accept that. And I don't know if a modern day Snake would work. You would almost have to reinvent it in a more serious kind of light. But I would be open to it. I'd be open to, I don't know. I mean, they've talked long and hard. Well, wasn't Escape from New York, a remake for Escape from New York, was supposed to be on the table for a while there. And I thought Lee Wennell or whatever, the guy that directed the guy that is James Wan's friend there, who is directing The Invisible Man right now, I thought he was attached to Escape from New York remake. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally out to lunch on that. Anyways, I know Escape from New York, a remake to that movie, is in the consciousness floating around. The Badass Ninja Super Chat, thank you very much, says, do you like the Hangover series? I liked the first one. I thought it was funny. The other two I thought were just recycled shit from the first one. And I'm like, okay, I've seen this. I don't need to see this again. Like, how many, like, you guys are really dumb people if this is actually happening to you for a third time, you know? Even though they tried to justify it. Let's see here. Holden Caulfield says, all of Melissa McCarthy films bomb. They don't. The Spy was hugely successful. And so was The Heat was very successful. Bridesmaids, even though that was an ensemble, very successful. Even Identity Thief was moderately successful. The reason why her movies are bombing right now is her comedies, at the very least, are because she's doing comedies where she's attached, where the director is her husband, her real life husband, who I adore. I think he's funny as all heck. But I don't know if he's a great filmmaker. Maybe he is. Maybe he just hasn't got that one yet. He's still kind of feeling it out, right? But the movies like Tammy and Life of the Party, which had funny moments, but just weren't funny movies per se, were movies that he directed. I talked about this a bit earlier in the stream. And I think she needs to I know he's your husband, and I know you love working with him. But I think you need to distance yourself a bit and start doing other comedies by other people. But I think she's hilarious. I am unabashedly a huge fan of her because I think she's funny. I think she's great. And I don't care what anybody says about that. Really? You like Liz McCarthy? She just fall down. She's funny because she's fat. No, that's not it at all. Does that help? Yes. But you could say the same thing about John Candy, a comedy legend. Oh, well, John Candy was only funny because he was fat. Well, yeah, that was part of it. You know, he didn't fall down and do slapsticky things, but, you know, it was part. It certainly helped, right? But he was funny anyway. Melissa McCarthy's funny regardless whether she's heavy or not. And she looks great. She's lost a lot of weight, so she looks great. Let's see here. Franklin Stein says, favorite Bruce Campbell role? Well, it's got to be one of the Evil Dead films. I mean, maybe Army of Darkness. I loved him in Bubba Hotep. Anybody seen Bubba Hotep? My dad, when he loved that movie. Let's see here. Goob says, any independent horrors you looking forward to? Well, I still haven't seen Midsummer, so I want to see that. I still haven't seen the one that just Crawl? Is it Crawl? The one with the gators? I still haven't seen that. It's not really independent per se, but it's, you know, it's like a B horror movie. I still want to see that. I gotta look online and see what I don't know right off the top of my head. I gotta look online. Let's see. Mr. Scary says John Candy was the best. Yeah. And Canadian, great Canadian guy from right here in Toronto, died so young. He was 43 or 44 when he died in 1994. So sad. I mean, not surprising with how heavy he was. But I often wonder what other classics and gems he would have given us. You know, all through the rest of the 90s, the early 2000s. Oh. He's there's a guy that if there is somebody out there that had a bad time with him or has a bad thing to say about him, they're very far and few between. I mean, everything you read about his generosity and his charisma and his heart, his big heart, and how he would help people and always give you his, his time, and just, it's so sad. So sad. That one hurt. I remember even at 15, I was 15 when he died. That was tough to take. A Girl says, any update on It's Me, Billy? Yeah, we were just talking about that, actually. It's still in development. So we're writing the script. The first draft of the screenplay is nearly done. And then Bruce and I will go over it and polish it and tweak it. And there'll probably be about 2 or 3 drafts of it. Get it to where we want it to be. And we're simultaneously working on the Indiegogo campaign, trying to shape that up as well. That's OBS again. Wait, we're back. Okay, sorry about that. Did I not say at the beginning of the stream that this might happen because OBS is finicky? We're back. It's okay. We're here. We are... Oh, wait. Yes, we're back. Okay. Sometimes it happens, guys. Sometimes it happens. It's all right. Stick around. Remember I said OBS is just weird. It gets weird sometimes. So stick around. So what? Hey, 144p. Just pretend it's 1998, and 144p was like, oh shit, we're on 144p. Oh, geez, we did it again. I don't know why it's doing that. Why is it doing that? I don't have... Let's see here. No. Okay, are we okay? I think we're okay. Let me see here. Trying to close this. Are we all right? Are we still there? We're still there. Houston, we had a problem. Yeah, I think we're all right. Okay, I think we're all right. All right. I think we're there. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. So strange. It's so strange the way it handles OBS, because it never used to do that. It's so weird. Okay, and funny, I don't know. All right. I'm getting hate mail. That's right, Andrew L. What was I just talking about? Oh, it's me, Billy. Yeah. So we are definitely in the development stage, and once I will keep you posted. I will keep you updated. Like, the development stage is usually the quietest stage of any filmmaking process, because there's only news when we decide to release news, right? And then once we enter pre-production, then that's when things get a little more interesting, because then that's when we start getting into casting and we start getting into crew and all that kind of jazz. Then of course production obviously is really interesting. So yes, don't worry, it will happen. Goob says, any news on Indy 5? As far as I know, they're looking to shoot next year. I mean, Harrison Ford's going to be, 70? Oh, he's 71, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll be 78 next year, I think. They better get a move on. I don't know what they're going to do, but we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Ben Liberty says, John Candy's performance in JFK was amazing. Oh, yeah. It's always easier for comedic actors to make the transition into drama than it is the other way around. Always easier. Always has been, always will be. And the reason for that is because this is the Crib Notes version, but comedy is it's about timing. And there's a very specific set of techniques and talent that comes with knowing the process of comedy and which comedy you're doing, whether it's slapstick, whether it's satirical, whether it's witty, and to be able to make that transition is easier because drama is more, it's more about the intimacy of the story and the environment and how things are playing to the subtleties and the nuances. And that's much easier to understand and get behind, even as a comedic actor, because comedy has nuances and subtleties as well. So it's just easier. But for a dramatic actor to make the transition to comedy, it's much harder. It's much harder to do, especially if you're doing a slapsticky version. Because timing, man, is so difficult to master. I should do a video on that, because I actually have a diploma in acting that I got years ago from a school here in Toronto, and we studied improv and theater and acting and comedy and drama and stuff. I'd have to brush up on it before I did the video, but that's kind of it's all about the different techniques that are used and why things are certain easier to adapt to than others. Comedy's harder, just in general. I mean, not everybody finds the same things funny, right? So that in and of itself is really difficult as well. What I find funny, you may not. What you find funny, I may not. But we generally can both agree on what is a powerful dramatic performance, or what would be considered dramatic in terms of the narrative that's being told, right? It's more universal than what comedy is, and that's why it can be so difficult at times. Okay, let me see here. There was a couple super chats that came in. Thunder Knock Studio says, hey Dave, I gotta run. I just want to let you know I recently became a patron of yours. All the best. Yes, that's right. I saw your name. I'm working on your the trailer where I say your name. You'll be getting that very soon. Thank you so much for becoming a patron as well. You are awesome. Thunder Knock Studios. JP DeStefano, am I saying that right? I think that's it. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Andrew Windermere says, what's your least favorite era of horror movies? Maybe the 90s would be my least favorite of horror movies. Maybe. My favorite might be the 70s, early 80s. And then maybe... Well, we're in a pretty good era now. There's a few things I don't like about what they're doing, but I like that we're turning more psychological. I like that we're starting to tap into the deep psyche of the audience to really what is scary. I like that we're exploring that more now than we have. So that's kind of cool. Okay, we'll go to 11 o'clock. We'll go to 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's another 5 minutes. I think you guys are awesome. Okay, let's see here. Super chat came in here from Edward Moody. Thank you, Edward. He says, thoughts on George Romero's Living Dead trilogy. Well, I haven't seen all. I've seen Land of the Dead. I've seen Dawn of the Dead. I've seen Night of the Living Dead, obviously. Have I seen Day of the Dead? I don't know if I've seen Day of the Dead. I like Night of the Living Dead the best, especially when it's in black and white. But I don't think there's not one I don't like. Like, there's ones I like better over the others, but it's a B movie about zombies killing people. Like, it's just fun to watch. Like, they're not meant to be taken seriously. Do you know what I mean? They're just fun movies. So, but I would definitely say that my favorite is Night of the Living Dead, for sure. The original from 1968. That would be my favorite. Okay, let's see here. Michael Myers says, are you going to watch the Joker movie at TIFF in Toronto? I might. TIFF starts in about another 3 weeks or so. Fan Expo in Toronto is coming up too. That's next weekend, I actually think, is Fan Expo. That's one of the largest conventions in North America. One of the largest in the world. They get close to 200,000 people over the 3 days. It's like the Comic-Con up here. It's huge. So if you're in the Toronto area or you're close to Toronto, you might want to think about going to that. Let me see here. Grave Warmer. If you had to choose either Danny DeVito, Gilbert Gottfried, Joe Pesci, or Jerry Stiller to go watch a Raptors game with, who would you want to go? I would probably go with Joe Pesci. Well, I don't know. Like now, Joe Pesci now, he looks like he's quieted down a bit, kind of older. He might be kind of quiet, right? I think Danny DeVito would be funny to go with even now. I think Joe Pesci 25 years ago, Danny DeVito now would be really funny. Gilbert Gottfried would be fucking annoying. Absolutely annoying. If he was doing his shtick, right? You know, it's like, oh God. And Jerry Stiller, same kind of thing. Maybe 25 years ago, but now he's slowed down a bit, a lot older. Danny DeVito, I think he's witty. And I think he'd be funny even now to go with. So I'm going to pick Danny DeVito. That's a fun question. I like that. All right. 4 more minutes here. Let's see here. Howard D says, have you ever read the Chaos Comics Halloween series? It was a 3-issue series in the early 2000s, and it connected 4 to 6 with H2O. I have not. I've heard about them because it does ring a bell, but I have not. Fascinating. Let's see here. Did I miss any super chats? I don't think I did. Just want to make sure I didn't. Going back. Least favorite era in horror movies. Thunderknock Studios. Oh, wait. Badass Ninja. Hangover series. Ever stop horror? No. Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Just always like to make sure. Paying customers. Okay. 3 more minutes. Here we go. Zach Axiola says, oh, Devontae Hunty is back. Oh, he's back. Well, of course he is. He's always going to be back. The J Hookmaster says, Dave, have you ever seen any of Kevin Smith's movies? Oh, yeah, great question. I don't talk about Kevin Smith on this channel a lot. I love most of his movies. I liked Red State. Was that his movie? I think that was his movie. I like that movie. I like Mallrats. I like Clerks. I like Chasing Amy. I like Kevin Smith. He's my kind of dude. Like, I think we got a similar personality, same temperament. Totally could see, as a lot of us do. I mean, we look at him, he's just that cool kind of guy, right? We almost lost him there last year, unfortunately, and thank goodness he's lost all that weight and he looks fantastic now. But definitely, yeah, I would say I love his movies. I think they're great. I'm really looking forward to Jay and Silent Bob, the sequel to that movie, which should be... The trailer looks... it looks funny, you know? It'll be interesting. A-Girl says, do you like Kevin James? I do like Kevin James. One of my favorite sitcoms of all time is King of Queens. Love it. Bill Joiner says, at Dave McRae, do you think Halloween 3 would do well with a reboot and name change? Also, would love to see Halloween 3 Saturday movie night. Yes, I have put Halloween 3 on the list a couple of times, just hasn't been chosen. I don't choose the movies. My patrons, level 3, do. So whatever movie they choose, that's what we go with. But definitely I will put it back on there. Do you think Halloween 3 would do well? I think there's a lot of potential. Yes, I do. I think there's a lot of potential for a Silver Shamrock Halloween 3 narrative today. It would have to be repackaged and expanded and fleshed out more, but I think there is potential for something like that. Grave Warmer Super Chat, thank you, Grave, says, did you enjoy either Constantine or Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves? I think I might have liked... that's tough. I haven't seen either of them in a long time. And Pacino is always great to watch. I might go with the Devil's Advocate. I might go with that one. I think that's the one with Al Pacino, right? Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. Okay, let's see here. Jeff Nelson says, your thoughts on Blade being in the Marvel Universe in a PG-13 rating? Look. F-bombs, blood, guts, and gore do not make a good movie great. Do not make a movie great. An R rating, in other words, does not make a movie great. Can movies be PG-13 and be great? Yes. PG-13 films can have shitloads of violence. You can have some swearing. You can have a boatload of violence. But I understand you want the visceral, gritty, feel the grit. You know what I mean? I get it. I understand it. So because of that, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I think there are some properties that do need to remain R. Not because you cannot make a version that you and I would walk away from, going, that was all right. That was all right. Like, there's no doubt that you can make a PG-13 Deadpool and a PG-13 Blade and walk away from it going, that was all right. That was pretty good. Like, you could make a movie where that can happen. The problem is that it's hard. And why pigeonhole yourself into that corner when if you just put that extra ingredient in, now you have to be careful that you don't go beyond an R rating, but you allow yourself the more creative freedom to do justice to the characters. So yeah, I think I don't know. I personally think Disney is... I don't like what's happening right now. I don't like that they've got Fox. I don't like that they are Disney-fying everything. I don't want a monopoly. I don't. It's the same reason why I don't want Blumhouse to get every fucking horror property. I don't want them to do it. I want other people to have a kick at the can. So, variety is good. Disney doesn't need... it's ridiculous. Anyway. Okay, couple more. K316 Super Chat, thank you, buddy, says, have you watched the Godfather movies? I have. I like them. Even the third one, I don't mind. But I haven't watched them in a long time, so I can't really go into detail beyond that. Cinema of the Dead says, hey, what's up, Dave? Hey, Cinema. Did you just join us? Because I'm about to chime out here in a second. Okay, one more question. Here we go. One more question. Let's see. Trying to get somebody I haven't got before. Okay, I'm going to go with... Here's a good one. The J Hookmaster says... Well, you know what? I've answered a couple of yours tonight. I'll answer this one and then somebody I haven't answered before. The J Hookmaster says, what would you do if you lost your voice forever, Dave? That would suck. Oh, that would suck. Every time I get the hiccups, I'm always like, oh my God, is this gonna, am I gonna end up like, one of those people that have the hiccups for like years and years and years? Those crazy shit that you can YouTube and find people that have had it? I might do that tonight. That's crazy. I love watching that shit. That'd be awful. I wouldn't be able to do this. It'd be awful. Okay, somebody I have not answered. Hey, here's a good one. Sean Eldridge says, hey Dave, what are your thoughts on the film The Prowler? Okay, now I want to make sure I'm thinking of the same movie. Okay, now are you talking about the 1951 movie or are you talking about the 1981 movie? You're probably talking about the 1981 movie. That is going to to be my guess. So I'm going to, because that's what I was thinking you were talking about, but I knew there was another movie, 1981 movie. Okay, I haven't seen it in a long time, Sean, but I do remember it being one that I enjoyed watching. It was a fun movie to watch. You know, it's a typical early 80s horror slasher kind of movie, right? So yeah, I didn't mind it. Yeah, I'm just looking at it here. I should watch that again. Haven't seen it in a long time. So I, unfortunately, because I haven't seen it in a long time, that's really all I can say about it. That yes, I have seen it. I did enjoy it. You thought it was great. Yeah, I remember thinking it was great too. So, all right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for me. Thank you again for putting up with the brief technical glitches there that we had with OBS. I promise that I am working on this technical shit because I don't know what's going on. I've got a computer that is extremely powerful. I don't understand why OBS and now Wirecast is giving me difficulties. I don't get it. Like, I got a really powerful processor and 32 gigs of RAM, and I'm fine. So there's something going on. I don't know where the disconnect is happening, but something is happening, and I got to figure out and get to the bottom of it. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. I appreciate your patience as always through the technical glitches. Thankfully, they don't last too long. And you guys are amazing. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And I will be back soon with another video. Just a reminder, tomorrow night, episode 35 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. And I will make the announcement either tonight or tomorrow what we're going to be talking about. But if you know your horror history of dates, there's a hint. I might have just given it away. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Have a great rest of the weekend.